And yeah, that was pretty much that. There are a few things that I wanted to share before I start wrapping this up that I think can just, that I guess can just shed some light on how things were in this time. My ex took Justin to his family reunion. That always stung. I never told him that. If he ever watches this, yeah. It stung mainly because I worked really hard to get his family to accept me. You know, they're very Southern Bible, oh, our son's gay, kick him out of the house kind of people. And I worked hard, real hard to earn their respect. For the first 4 years, I wasn't on the Christmas cards. I didn't get any kind of birthday card. But then eventually I did. Eventually I got presents and I got birthday cards and my name was on the Christmas cards. I busted my ass. I defended him. I hope he remembers that. Early on, when we first met, you were broken. Let's talk about that. We'll be vague. But you had just been through a life-altering event yourself. And your family was completely eviscerating you emotionally and mentally about it. They were breaking you down. And I stood up to them. I fought for you. I stood up to your friend who was manipulating you about all of it. I put them in their place and they never did it again. When we met, you were broken, completely broken. And I did my best to help put you back together. Yeah, it's just kind of occurring to me now that yes, it's a different situation. You knew me as my best self, but then you watched me become that broken shell of who I used to be. I never saw you before what happened to you happened. I knew the broken shell guy, and I did what I could. But, yeah. So yeah, the family reunion thing, that bugged me. After he had moved out, and we had our talk, and the writing was on the wall, we started dividing our stuff up. And we had a very large DVD and video game collection that we were proud of. And we started dividing it up. We're sitting there on the floor in the room at the house, trying to see who gets what. And I'll never forget how he acted during it. It was almost giddy. Like he was excited to be doing this. And I'm sitting there fighting back tears. I didn't want it to be over. I didn't want to give up. This was another kind of eye-opening moment for me because we're dividing it up and I'm being fair. Like, if you've ever went through, I call it a going out of business sale, take what you want, I don't care, whatever. That kind of just whatever. You want all the Final Fantasy games? Fine. You want all the RPG games? Fine. I bought that one for myself, but fine, take it. But when we got to the DVDs, then I started to kind of wise up to what was going on. So we're dividing them up, and then he starts taking stuff that, no. You don't get Soap Dish. You don't get Strangers with Candy. Because he'd already taken Soap Dish and Strangers with Candy, all the seasons, over to Austin's to show Austin and Friends. And he was talking about how much they loved them and how cool it was that he showed that to them and how they couldn't wait for him to show them more stuff. I showed that to him. He had never heard of Soap Dish before we met. He had never heard of Strangers with Candy before we met. I introduced those things to him. He was using the stuff that I introduced to him to woo another guy. On top of, the deck was stacked against me already. Hot, 19, personable, great guy from all accounts. Do you need, what more ammunition do you need to get this guy to like you? And the stuff that you're using, the stuff that you're co-opting me to someone else. I know that sounds kind of dramatic, but that's how I felt about it. So he grabs Soap Dish and Strangers with Candy and puts them in his pile. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Those are mine. I had those before I met you. Those don't belong to you. I know you need them to look cool, but you apparently have enough money to go buy frivolous clothes that you don't need. You have enough money to go buy new copies of those to look cool in front of the people that you're trying to impress. And you can even pretend that you discovered them. I don't care. But those are mine. Put them back. You see the writing on the wall. Like, okay, I poured my heart out to him. He's come back to divide the assets up. And he's giddy and happy. And he's still trying to manipulate the situation to look better. He's still playing mind games with me. What in the actual did I do to deserve any of it? This is exactly how these things went down. So the people that knew us might think that I might sound bitter or I'm trying to paint him as the bad guy. If I wanted to, I could go in more detail about things. I'm not. I'm just laying out the facts as they happened. And our friends will attest to, I never asked any one of you to take a side. Not one of you. I never asked anyone to unfriend him or to stop talking to him. Nothing. You want to be friends with him? Fine. You want to be friends with me? Fine. But here's what happened. Here's what he did. The final story that relates to the ones I wanted to share was the day we went out Xmas shopping. We went Xmas shopping for the family. And he invited me along for some reason. I don't know why. But one of our favorite stores was Kohl's. So we went to Kohl's. That was hard. That was because he was being friendly and jokey, and it was like how it was before, you know. It was that effortlessness, that ease of being. It's like when you have a dance partner that you've had for years, and you just know exactly how the moves are going to go, and you know exactly the rhythm, and that's what we had, and that's what was there that day that we were hanging out doing that. And I am just so torn because I've accepted that this is probably over. I haven't given up though. Still haven't given up because I'm a fool. This shows that we still have it. We still have it. We still connect. But then I had another eye-opening moment. We went to Burger King afterwards to get veggie burgers because he's vegetarian now. My hair was a little longer than it was in the picture I showed earlier, where it was all like frizzy and dead looking. And out of nowhere, he just stops and looks at me and he says, and I quote, "You should probably just keep your hair short from now on." Why? I had to excuse myself and go to the bathroom because I burst into tears. I kind of realized that the entire day was planned. It was another machination. It was set up to make me feel these things again, only to be cut right back down. So when I say I think he got some sick satisfaction out of doing what he did to me, it adds up. When you put me being broken and busted and physically just everything, like all of it, take away everything he had done that got us in that position in the first place, and then months later giving up and trying to get out and away. Think about, and I look at it from his point of view, I have, but at the same time, you've already won. You're free. You're free. You no longer have any responsibility to me at all. You're free. Spread your wings and fly. Why do you need to keep cutting me so deep? What was the point? What's the point of being giddy and overly giddy and excited to be dividing up our stuff, only to try and cut me down with the stuff that you knew was going to bother me? Why take me out and have a great time? Go out of your way to have a great time, only to plan your moment to cut me down. Why? To this day, I still don't understand. And if you think that the playing field leveled out, it didn't. The hits keep on coming. Remember how I said when my ex moved out and then stopped paying and the dad was holding it against me, kind of resented me for it? It felt like everyone was blaming me for what was going on when I had zero control over anything. I am seriously just this guy where it just sits there and life's just like poof, 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 poof. About 2 months after my ex moved out, I think we're like in late February 2013, me and the dad are driving back from the chiropractor, and out of nowhere he just says, "Me and the family have been talking, and we want you out by May 1st. Just to drop a bombshell on someone, and then immediately it starts going back to joking again. Because then I'm sitting there shell-shocked. I'm just like, after everything, now this? And I'm stunned. And I have tears rolling down my face. And the dad looks over and sees it and says, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Someone could ask, well, did you fight for that? No. It's not my house, not my family. The dad made that very clear. And I never even asked if it was the family that came to this conclusion or just him. I have my assumptions, but we'll leave it there. And it's not like I wasn't doing anything. I was going back to school. After everything that had happened, after everything I had been through, I was still trying. I was going back to school. I was trying to get a business degree. Because I thought, you know what? If I ever get healthy enough to work again, on top of having years of store manager experience, I can have this business degree. I can guarantee myself a pretty damn decent job and wage when that day comes. I was thinking about a future, our future. I was planning. I was doing my plan B. I said in an earlier video, I have a plan A, plan B, backups if I can. So plan A was meaning the ex would move out after a year, after the dad bumped up to 100. The dad got so successful in his business, he could actually afford new cars. And we're still paying $100 a week. So I'm not going to say that the dad was taking advantage of the situation, but I'm not going to not say that either. Everything that happened after I moved in was just one thing after another, 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 after another. And now I have no relationship, and now get out. So there I am with 2 months to be out, no money, a broken body that won't heal, from a second accident that robbed me of all momentum, that wasn't my fault, that if people had put sandbags in the car like it had been asked, I wouldn't be in that situation. I wouldn't be in the shape I am in now if not for that second accident. And that is the honest to God's truth. I have still, as I said in the last video, I have still not recovered to the point of being where I was the day before the second accident. And it has been almost 8 years later. I wonder if me, driving the car of the relationship, being the one in charge, the breadwinner, if that was a mistake. I wonder, because when it was time for my ex to take the wheel, not only did he fail, he kicked me to the back seat and then kicked me out of the car. It's like he forgot about the we and just focused on what he could do for himself. And yes, he was still paying the $400 a month. Again, not ignoring that. It's like he forgot that we were in this together until the end. You forgot that promise that we made to each other at the Grand Canyon. One that I still remember to this day. We'd celebrated 7 years together. We were technically common law. So when I refer to you as my ex-husband, that's why. The silver lining is that it took 2 major acts of God to actually finally split us up. So I guess that shows the lengths it took to make it happen. But I appreciated everything you did as far as supporting me there. But my justification comes in the form of what I referenced earlier. When the shoe was on the other foot, I was there for you. I supported you. I got you through it. I helped get you through it. I held you in bed and let you just bawl your eyes out because that's what you needed. But now think of it this way. Think about this situation. And think if the shoe was on the other foot now. There'd be no jail, no eviction, no almost homeless, no new house, no trying to replace you. Certainly there would have been no abandoning you at your lowest moment. I don't care if you were in 7 accidents. Well, then that's 7 accidents that we're going to get through together. Because it's kind of a cliche saying, but you know what? I'm ride or die. And I rode till the end, to the very bitter end. And if the shoe was on the other foot, I certainly wouldn't have taken advantage of your broken body and broken mind. If a store manager position opened up, you wouldn't hear me whining that, that's not what I want to do. I would take that. Because I know, just like I said to you, If you get that position, you make salary. You make salary, we can get out of here and we can start a new life and live comfortably. That's not what I want to do. Clearly, because you had other plans in mind. Do you think that I enjoyed working 70 to 80 hours at Blockbuster every week just so that my store could stay open when they cut our hours to 30 hours a week for an entire staff? Do you think I liked being a store manager then when I got no overtime because I was salary? But I did it because it gave us a comfortable living. And I did it for us. But when it was your turn to reciprocate, you failed in spectacular fashion. And our friends, our mutual friends, you can be friends with him as long as you want. I don't care about that. But I want you to know the truth about things, my truth about things that happened. And I am not exaggerating anything. Everything that was said, everything that was done. And I've said, if I don't know for sure, then I don't know for sure. It's speculation on my part. Because I'm not going to say something's the truth if I don't know it is. It's interesting, and not in a good way, but it's interesting just in the it is what it is way. When you watch your relationship come to an end, or you've been in a relationship that did come to an end, the relationship ending is harder if you're the one still in love. Again, I'm not trying to play the victim. I'm not trying to play the martyr. But I had no control over anything in my life. And I don't think I was ever given a fair chance to not only work on anything, fix anything, myself included. I was re-injured at the hands of people who were negligent. And then 2 years later kicked out because I am no longer a monetary asset. But what I was going through was a direct result of being there. After being asked to move out, well, told to move out, I just sat there thinking, like, how much more can life take from me? Like, how many more middle fingers do I need to endure? When do I start getting propped up? When do I get momentum? When do I get a chance to have a fair shot, a fighting chance? Unfortunately, I did have to see him, my ex, a couple more times after the whole holiday season, like after our talk and the holidays and all that. And he and Justin are obviously still friends, even though my ex no longer lives there. So, he would come over with Austin. Yeah, at this point, I'm just like, whatever, dude. Like, whatever you need to do. You've already won. You've already, I am the dead horse that you're dancing on at this point. But whatever you need to do, go ahead. I'll just go to my room, which had no door, which is a completely involved backstory on that. And so, yeah, I couldn't shut the door and block it out. I'd go hide, put headphones on, and yeah. After being told to move out, which we'll get into in part 9, I didn't see my ex again until about 6 months ago. And that was complete happenstance. Almost 6 years. And yeah, it was weird. And I will share that story in a future video. So that is the story of how my almost 13-year relationship came to a painful, slow, and deliberate end. I guess you can think of it what you will. I'm not trying to sound like a jerk. I know people that know both of us. And I know people that will quite say, oh, that can't be true. That's not how it happened. And you're totally allowed to think that. Coming up next will be part 8, which will deal with the lawsuit. And if you think that things get better for me, spoiler, they don't. And then we'll pick up this part of the story in part 9 of me figuring out where to go from here. This is a weird one to go over because it's that mixture of rage, anger, resentment, sadness, regret. Do I wish things had happened differently? Yeah, but I don't know how they could have. The things that I was held accountable for were out of my control. And everything else was just varying degrees of it was a rough 2 years. Very rough 2 years. It kind of got to be when you slowly lose the person that you thought you would grow old with. And yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and end this now. If you've watched to the end, thank you for watching. And thank you for listening. And now you know the story of how my baker's dozen went completely rotten. See you in the next video.